and welcome back to another design team video. I am obsessed with making weird and wonderful things to put in my journals, to put in my planners, and something that I created over on Patreon was a Whimsy warrior. And when I got all the things for the design team, like the stuff, the line, I went, this is perfect. We can make Whimsy warriors using Jane's stuff, and it makes it a whole lot simpler because she's got all the stuff laid out for you. Now, these are the two that I made on Patreon, and they do have movable legs as well. And I am not doing movable legs today because I want some static legs, because I'm going to turn it into a bookmark for my planner and my journal. Now, what I did was I scanned my blue haired girl and then I laminated her, and she is what I use as my today marker in my planner. So I thought we could make some Whimsy warriors for our butterfly books, and using Jane's things, this is one I came up with. This is a sample using her beautiful papers and her stamp set and some of my drawn legs. I have a printable here with some legs that I've made, but you can draw your own, or you can get legs out of magazines. If you don't think you can draw them, magazines are your BFF. So that is what we're going to make today. So some of the things that you're going to need will be, you can either do a whole face using just the stamp set. If you've just got this will work just as well. Or if you've bought the creator face one, this is what I'll be using today, because we're going to be using it as our, thing to make our faces. Also, if you can tell on her skirt and her beautiful little collar there, I have used some of the Jane Davenport paper, and I've also used some embossing powders. So we're going to be using the scrapbook paper today. I actually pre-picked this one because I really love all this background stuff here. So that's what my current one is going to look like with the skirt and everything. You will need a a stamp pad and an acrylic block, some embossing powder. I'm using gold today, and I keep my embossing powder in a Tupperware container because it makes it easier to just sort of scoop things in. You're also going to need a luggage tag. So just any old luggage tag. I have not grabbed mine out yet, but yes, a luggage tag. Or you can basically trace or print off a luggage tag off the internet, or just any type of card. This will work with anything, but luggage tags are so much fun that's what I've been using for my girls. And they're just the right size to slip into your butterfly book. So I'll go grab mine and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so this is my butterfly book, and it is housing some of my past journals. So you can see all my craziness, and I've got pockets in here, my washi tape and stuff like that. So there's all of my journals in here. So it is quite chunky. But this is the one I've laminated. So if you say you were like back here and you wanted, it basically looks like you've got a creature sticking out of your book, which I totally adore. This may not be for everyone, but I am so left of center and I love all weird and wonderful things. So having antlers popping out of my journals and planners is totally me. You can also use these as really cool bookmarks if you're a book nerd. I'm one of those too. So I have made many of these little warriors all around my house, and my daughter's got one in her book. So that is what we're going to do, but we're going to do it with a Jane spin. So let me pop away that. So I did grab my luggage tag so you can see what a blank one looks like. I have clear embossing powder. This is what I use with my clear embossing ink pad. This is just a Ranger one, and I also have my black waterproof ink, because if you want to use your mermaid markers or you want to use your beautiful watercolors, you're going to need a waterproof ink so that your stamp lines don't go astray. So I'm going to speed this up, and I'm going to be putting a voiceover over this just to make it a little bit faster for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, pop them down below in the blog post, and I hope you enjoy making your own Whimsy warriors. Thanks, bye! So first up, we're going to use the DIY face stamp set, and I love how creative this stamp set. You can have so many different looks and you can do so many different things with this stamp set, especially if you are just beginning to do your drawing or learning how to draw faces. This stamp set is such a great tool in helping you learn all different features and all different styles. So I've just used the archival ink, which is waterproof, and stamped down my face, and I put it a little bit below the like a little hole, and that's where you can add some ribbons or stuff if you wish, but I didn't want to do that. And so instead of just doing one set of eyes, I decided that I wanted to have one eye open and one eye closed. I like the little strange look of having different type of eyes, especially on the Whimsy Warriors. It just seems to suit them better. So I've just covered up that second eye with a piece of watercolor paper so that when I stamp down, that won't show that second closed eye. And I do that with the other stamp as well, just using it as a buffer basically. And so I can have two different sets of eyes, and it kind of looks like she's winking almost, but it's just something visually interesting and something different than just having the same set of eyes basically on the same head. Then I've just gone ahead and picked a nose. I picked it at random because I haven't tried all the features yet, so I decided instead of pre-planning, I would just grab one and go basically. So I picked my nose and my lips, and then it is time to do some shading. Now I only did very basic coloring in on this Whimsy Warrior just for time's sake. Normally I would spend quite a lot of time shading and being very particular, but I didn't want this video to be too long for you guys, so you can shade your Whimsy Warriors however you wish. And I did decide to go with the magic wands this time, Jane's colored pencils, because they are beautifully blendable, and so no fuss. So normally I would do acrylic paint, I did watercolor, but today I just wanted to be very subdued and laid back and take the magic wands and do some lovely shading. Now, before I start shading, I forgot I did this bit. I have just grabbed an inky pen. You can use your Incredible pen. Mine wasn't handy at the moment, but I just added some features to the eyes to make it a little bit different. You can do this step, you can not do this step, but I like adding strange features, you know, clown-like features, that sort of thing, performance features, you know, giant flowers around the eyes. It like I said, it is all your imagination. If you can dream it, you can do it, basically. So I do add some decorational aspects to the face just to make it a little bit unique and more my own style. Like I said, my shading is very basic in this video because I'm just giving you the jumping off point on how to make this so that you can take it to the next level. And for time's sake, because it takes so long for us Aussies to upload videos, I decided just to do very simple shading using the magic wands, using the skin tones and some of the pinks. Jane's pencils are very creamy and they blend really well. And now normally I'm a Prismacolor girl, but I am totally loving the Jane magic wands. And the pigmentation, I'm not actually pushing very hard in this shading. It gives that really soft, subtle look that you really want when you're actually doing your face shading. So highly recommend the magic wands. So this step is basically shading your face the way you want to, giving it the highlights, the lowlights, the shadows. You can actually not even do skin tones if you don't want to. I know that James is a firm lover of blue skin girls, and I absolutely love it, and one day I need to do a blue skin girl. But you can pick whatever skin color or skin type you want to do for your Whimsy Warrior. The stranger the better, I say, but I was just playing it very safe today on camera. I grabbed my mermaid marker in Lobster and just colored in that big flower. I love how vibrant the mermaid markers are, and it was such a pop against that soft subtleness of the magic wand. So I do like to do my features in the mermaid marker, but be very careful if you are doing watercolor to wait for everything to dry, because your mermaid markers are water soluble, they're going to move, and I have completely forgotten that before and had a huge massive red puddle on the side of one of my girls' faces. But they are so vibrant and one of my favorite supplies at this very moment. And I have a lot of supplies, but mermaid markers are right up there in my top group of faves this month. I've just grabbed a mermaid marker to just do some sketchy hair, not too many details. I love the sort of really bold looking hair, and I'm terrible at hair, so this is my favorite way to do it. Loose and swooshy basically, and the mermaid markers with that beautiful brush tip is the perfect way to get that loose, whooshy, smooshy hair. And of course they're just so vibrant. I can't get over how vibrant these are. They are so in your face. I love it. Now, I decided at first I was going to give her antlers, but once I auditioned them on top of her head, it didn't just quite go. So I tried the sort of jester-like ears as well. They didn't work, so I just fell back on the cat ear. It is a staple. I love cat ears, and my sample had cat ears, so I just went with that. But I did try the antlers. They just didn't suit her as much as the cat ears did, so I picked the cat ears in the end. I just grabbed my tiny attacher and attached those. You can glue them on. I just like how that sort of staple look looks, and they're quite small little staples, so they're very unobtrusive. But as soon as I put the cat ears on, I knew that it was just too perfect. So this is kind of where we grab our scrapbook paper, and at first I cut out tiny little half circles for her collar, and then larger, more petal-like shapes for her skirt. So just cut up your collar and your skirt. You can even do contrasting papers. You don't have to pick the same piece of paper. I just like the look, and this is so varying in design that you can have so many different looks just from this one sheet of paper. So that's pretty much why I picked it. So at the moment I'm cutting out tiny little half circles for her collar. So now you can see me cutting out the larger, more petal-like shapes. It is just so you have a point on the end, and this will make up her ruffled skirt. I found this to be a really cute way to do a skirt, just sort of assembling. A collage is one of my favorite things to do. It is such a stress reliever for me. So a lot of my projects you will see will be very heavily collage based, but yes, petal-like shapes for her skirt. You may choose different shapes if you wish. This is just something I sort of found to be the most aesthetically pleasing, especially when we do some fun embossing to the tips to give some more texture. So I'm just using some glue to adhere the little collage pieces for her collar, and this is why I cut so many, because you have you just trial and error basically. You just want to try and get those collar bits in there, and where her chin is, I cut a little bit of a divot out of that piece so it sits around her chin, otherwise you're going to cut her chin off. So I did try and cut a whole different sort of pieces, different sizes, and then just sort of, you know, guessed and moved and trialed out different looks to add that sort of circus collar. You can go a bit more crazy if you like, but I just like doing the collar very simple, and then I add some doodling to just sort of jazz it up a bit and make it more my own. So I've just come in with my incredible pen, and I'm just adding some doodling to that collar just to make it a bit more my own, and because I love doodling on, you know, things, entangling, all that sort of thing. So I do love adding little bits of my own spice to my collage elements, and that way every little whimsy warrior that you do will look different because you're doing different looks, different pen work. It's so much fun. It's like a dress up Barbie basically. And I am now just adding some details to that flower, just to, you know, give it a little bit more texture. And then moving right along, we are going to start grabbing our petal pieces for our skirt, and I'm using a clear embossing pad, and I'm just sort of putting the tips of those skirts into the embossing pad, so pressing down a little bit, not all the way, and then dipping it into the gold embossing powder and then embossing it with my heat gun. So that way you can add a little bit of texture. This is a totally up to you step. You don't have to do this if you don't have embossing pad or anything like that. Don't feel that you need to. It's just something fun that I enjoy doing. On some of my others, I've used opaque hot pink. If you've got, you know, bright green, you know, embossing powders come in so many different colors, and it's just something a little bit fancy pants, I feel, adding those gold tip edges to her skirt. And it also just gives it a whole nother look, especially when the light catches the gold embossing powder. So once you've got all your pieces, you can see that I've cut out my legs for her, and I'm just using a black Liquitex paint marker. I know that you guys have paint over pens as well, but I wanted to pick up the black one because it's thick and covers a lot of ground very, very quickly. So I'm just painting in a very simple, basic representation of a shirt. Shapes are very simple to do and they're very effective. So we're just giving her a little bit of a shirt and a little bit of a waist before we fan out that skirt that we just made. Well, we've started. We're going to start assembling the skirt now and just popping them in a flared motion, going out in a semicircle, and then you just sort of fill the gaps in with extra petals if you feel like you need to. Sometimes I've started the skirt, realized I've not cut enough shapes and will need to go back and make more. So make sure you, when you do the first cut quite more than you think you'll need, because, you know, once you start adding them all together, you realize that you need more skirt petals. And then once you've added all those pieces, we're going to go back in with our paint marker and just even up those top edges so it's all unified and lovely. Once you have gotten to a stage where you're happy with your skirt, it is time to attach your legs. Now, whichever way you've done it, you've drawn them, you've cut them, just attach them, slip them underneath. As you can see, I'm only putting the glue on the top bit of the scrapbook paper, so the actual bottom bits are loose and free, and this also means that you can slip your legs underneath her skirt and it will be no problems. I literally just put glue on the tops of those legs so that I can slip them up and under, and then you are pretty much done and you have created a Whimsy warrior. So once I've finished just finishing this skirt off on camera, you'll see me come in with the legs and also the paint marker again, just to even out that top. Because you've got those uneven edges from all those separate pieces of collage, running your paint marker over them sort of creates a little bit of unification, and you can't quite see that they're all single pieces at a distance. And I'm just adding some polka dots just to add, again, my own flair. This is the way that you can customize your scrapbook paper and to really change up how they look, especially if you looked at it, you wouldn't know that that paper came from Jane's paper pad. So that's kind of where I'm at, using her supplies to put your own style and your own stamp onto it so that everything looks like your own. Now it is time to attach those fancy pants little legs, and like I said, just slipping that under that skirt because the bottoms of those skirt petals are not glued down. They are loose and free, which makes putting those legs under quite easy. Just position them. If you want to make them movable, you can just use brads and a hole punch, but I want them to be static because I would love to laminate them for my journals and planners. And there you have it, 2 Whimsy warriors. I just decided that I hadn't put enough texture into her hair, so I grabbed my incredible pen and just popped the hair strands, just messy and sketchy, just how I like it. I hope you enjoyed that quick tutorial on how to make your own Whimsy warrior. Now these are so customizable. The sky is the limit with these. You could also use your eye washi tape if you wanted to make a bigger, more feature eye. I was going to do that with this, but I thought I'd just do it with the stamps, but I'd give you a little few options. But the eyes, I'm going to do one with the eyes myself because I think it'd be really, really cool. You can have antlers, ears. You don't even have to put any of these on the top if you don't want to, but like, your imagination is the only thing that would limit you in what you can do with these. You could do so many different color variations because there's so many beautiful papers in that paper pad that you could just do anything. On this one, I actually use pink post-it notes. So even if you didn't have the Jane paper, which I highly recommend you do because it's amazing. It's one of my favorite paper pads I've ever bought, and I have a lot of paper. It is amazing what you can do with just a few supplies and a luggage tag, and now you can make, you know, heaps for your journals. You can have them for different seasons, you can have them for different months, you could use them in books, anything. So I am going to pop these 2 Jane inspired Whimsies through the laminator, and they will become the new things that pop out of my journals. These are printed onto photo paper, so they're a little bit more sturdier. You can print them onto cardstock as well, and then when I print them out, I print them onto photo paper if you don't want to use your original. So I printed mine on photo paper, then I put that through the laminator, so it gave it a nice little, it's not too flimsy, and it works really well in your journals, your butterfly books, your sketchbooks, your books, anything. So I hope that has inspired you to create your own Whimsy warrior with the stamp set and the paper pad. If you have any more questions, pop them down below in the blog post and I will be happy to answer them as best I can. I will leave links to all the things that I used in Jane's range for the US and the non-US, as always, to make shopping easier for you guys. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye!